What's up, all you beautiful people? Today, I want to talk to you about a two-part simple process that will help you maximize and optimize your daily output. Because I believe that a great life, if you were to work backwards from what makes for a great life, it's really just a sequence of great days, right? Like a good Monday that leads into a good Tuesday. And if you look up at the end of the week and more than 50% of your days are good days, then you're having overall a pretty good life. Now, that's oversimplifying it a little bit because there is something to be said about the magnitude of good days in relation to the magnitude of bad days. And so if you have like overall more good days than bad days, but those bad days happen to be extraordinarily bad, like every other day, like a loved one's dying and you're like, sold into slavery, like, yeah, that sucks. But generally speaking, if we can win the day, then we can win the week, we can win the month, we can win the year, and ultimately win a great life. And so these are two systems that I use every single day, and pretty much every high performer, entrepreneur, founder that I work with uses some variation of this. The first part, it starts in the morning. The very first thing that you do when you wake up is to actually define what winning the day looks like. It's a very simple process, but it's surprising how very few people actually take the time to do this. Very few people, if you were to stop them on the street, if I was to go on the street right now and I stop a stranger, I'd be like, hey, what would it mean for you to win today? That person would not be able, most likely, to give me a coherent, specific answer. They would say some really vague, general things. And as a result of not knowing what it means for you specifically to win today, it's more likely that you're going to go through the day with your endless to-do list. You're going to get to the end of the day. You're going to get to this afternoon. You're going to feel just this malaise, this feeling of like, I didn't do as much as I could. I checked off a few things on the to-do list, but overall there was just so much to do, and I added these other things, and so it doesn't really feel like you made a meaningful dent on the universe. And of course, like, there's going to be certain days where you just had a really good experience. Maybe you just had a really good lunch or a really good bowel movement, and you're like, yep, that was a great day, right? That happens. But generally, most days, the average day, people just don't know what it looks like to win. And so they go through their week, their month, their year, just generally feeling like they're falling behind. And especially as a founder, you're always putting out fires inside of your business. And for every item that you check off that to-do list, another couple sprout up in its place. And so the simplest way that you can combat that feeling of perpetually falling behind, perpetually losing the day, is just to sit down and define, okay, what would it mean to actually win today? What would make today a fantastic day, right? Start from that premise and then work backwards to create that day. And specifically, what I like to do are these three things. It's called my 3 to free, my 5 to thrive, my 2 to do. And so that is a way for me to chunk down and say, okay, my 3 to free are, what are the 3 activities that if I did today and I did nothing else, nothing but these 3 things, I could call it a victorious day. And those 3 things, they can be whatever you want. It could be I go for a walk with my loved one. It could be I spend 90 minutes working on my new book, right? It could be whatever you want it to be. The important thing is that you define it and then you prioritize it. You put it on the calendar, and I like to make sure that it's the very first thing that I do, so that by the time I get to noon in the day, like, I've already done my 3 to free, and then everything beyond that is just gravy. And that's where the 5 to thrive, the 2 to do are going to come in. The 5 to thrive is, what are your quarterly goals? Like those big 5 quarterly rocks that you have that you're trying to move towards. Everybody kind of has their annual goals figured out. Like, I want to lose 15 pounds this year. I want to make XYZ number of dollars this year. And we might have quarterly goals within our business, but often we don't have quarterly goals within like our personal life. And really, those quarterly goals should stack on top of each other so that they lead inevitably to accomplishing your annual goal. But, if you don't take the time to actually define what are those quarterly goals, you're just going through the motions. And so it's important that your 3 to free and your 2 to do correspond in some way to moving you towards those 5 to thrive, like those 5 big, meaningful quarterly goals. And so the 2 to do is, what are the 2 things I could do today that would move the ball forward towards those big quarterly rocks? And if you do that, if you just focus on what are those three things that on their own would make today a great day. I get my exercise in, I did some deep work, and I spent some time with a loved one. Huzzah. And then you do your 2 to do, which moves you in alignment with your big quarterly goals. that's a pretty damn good day, right? So that's the first thing you do every single day. Define what winning the day looks like. The second thing that you do occurs at the end of the day, where you review the game day footage. You can't just play the game and then go home afterwards and not review the footage. You have to break down and say, okay, how did I play? Did I play up to my abilities? Did I phone it in? Where was I strong? Where was I weak? Where was there opportunities for improvement? Where did I absolutely crush it? What are the commonalities? What are the themes that I can take away from this so maybe I can apply it effectively tomorrow? Like, oh, I found that when I do my 90 minutes of deep work from 9 till 10 right after doing a workout, I feel great. And the quality of my work is much higher because my energy level is higher. Maybe you discovered, you know what, if I put off my workout until the evening, I'm just too tired to put in the full effort. And so I go through the motions and now I'm just in maintenance mode and I'm not actually making improvements. So tomorrow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my workout earlier in the day when I'm still fresh, right? But you can only make those assessments if you actually take the time to sit down at the end of the day and review the game day footage and then use that information moving into the next day to define what winning the day looks like based off of your new and improved information that you gathered from the previous day. You do this every single day for a year, this process of define what you want to happen, review what happened, and iterate for the next day, and just keep doing that over and over and over. Your life is going to get pretty damn good pretty damn quickly, and you'll be surprised at how quickly you actually start to move towards your goals. So take those two activities, implement them into your daily cadence, win the day, and then review the day, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.